We'll discuss 16-12. So you have three items to solve for 16-12, all for the consolidated income attributable to the parent, just for different years. We already know that if we're trying to solve for the consolidated income attributable to the parent, we just need the consolidated income and to deduct the share of the NCI in the adjusted income of the subsidiary. So first thing we need is to solve for your consolidated income. And again, what are the two things you need to solve for consolidated income? First is the income of the parent from its own operations. And second would be the adjusted income of the subsidiary. But again, even though we're using those terminologies, please do not be misled into thinking that there will be no adjustments to the income of the parent. Especially in this chapter, it's now possible for the income of the parent to have adjustments. And when will that happen? If we have downstream transactions. If we have intercompany transaction originating from the parent. So let's check that here first. See, we're already given with the information from the parent class. Let's just check if we have any downstream transaction. PAL purchased 60% of the ownership. Sales to PAL. Okay, so the transaction here is upstream from the subsidiary to the parent. So in this problem class, we will not have any adjustment to the income of the parent. PAL is the parent. Okay. So how much is the income of the parent? 150,000. Okay, and then next, since we will not have any adjustments to the income of the parent from its own operations, we'll proceed to the adjusted income of the subsidiary. And there we will have to begin with the income reported by the subsidiary. How much income was reported by the subsidiary in 2015? It is 100,000. Okay? And again, also please do not think, Lasa, that in all problems, the source of adjustments will just be from the intercompany transaction. Remember the adjustment from the previous chapters, which is the amortization of the excess. Please make sure to check if there is any excess to amortize. Okay, what does the problem say? PAL purchased 60% of the ownership of C at underlying book value. So meaning the acquisition was at book value, meaning there will be no excess. There will be no difference between the fair value and the book value. So no excess to amortize. But again, please do not think that it will not happen wherein you will have adjustments from intercompany transactions and adjustments from amortization of excess at the same time. Okay, it's just here that the problem is still trying to ease you into those kind of problems. Okay, so going back to intercompany transactions, for sale of inventories, how many adjustments are we going to have, class? We will have two, and these two adjustments are the markup on the beginning and the markup on ending. The markup on beginning will be added, representing the realized profit in the ending inventory, while the markup on ending will be deducted, representing the unrealized profit on the ending inventory. So for 2015, what do we have? When did the acquisition take place? 2014. So that means, are we given with any information for the beginning inventory? No. There being none, there's nothing to consider. Proceed to the ending inventory. How much of the ending inventory of the subsidiary came from, how much of the ending inventory of the parent came from the subsidiary? Okay, so all of it comes from the subsidiary. Okay, so that would be 70,000. So do we deduct the 70,000 from the uh, 100 class? No, because the 700 represents what? The bill price or the selling price of these goods that are still in the ending inventory. What do we need? It is the markup on this 70,000. Okay, the gross profit on this 70,000. So we will have to solve. Okay, and generally we will need the gross profit rate, but in this case we are already given with the gross profit rate. Is the markup simply 70,000 times 25% class? No, because the gross profit rate or the markup rate given is based on cost. So first divide 70,000 by 125%. How much will that give you? Yeah, if you convert it to based on price, that would be 20%. Okay, since you already did that, let's just use 20%. So 70,000 times 20% will give you how much? And this is now the markup on ending. What do we do with the markup on ending class? Plus or minus? Minus. Deduct it from 100,000. So 100 minus 14,000 will give you how much? 86,000. Okay? And since we will not have any other adjustment for 2015, the adjusted income of the subsidiary is how much, class? Again, it was adjusted income of the subsidiary. 100 minus 14, that was 86. Add the income of the parent from its own operations in the amount of 150, 150 plus 86, that will give you 236. And there's only one choice, that is 200. Attributable to parent. So definitely the answer will not be letter B. And it cannot be letter C. So it will either be alpha or delta. Okay, so we already solved for 236. How do we arrive at the income attributable to the parent, class? Just deduct the share of the NCI in the adjusted income of the subsidiary. How much is the adjusted income of the subsidiary again? 86. How much is the NCI in this problem? 40%. I hope everyone gets the 40%. That's the residual after the controlling interest of 60. So 86,000 times 40% will give you 34,400. Deduct that from 236. How much is 236 from 34,400? 201,600. Okay. So the answer here would simply be, again, alpha. Okay, but let's proceed. Let's still answer 2016 for the sake of practice, class. For 2016, again, the same thing is being asked. The same things will be needed. You need your consolidated income for you to deduct the share of the NCI for us to get the income attributable to parent. And in solving for your consolidated income, we need two things: income of the parent from its own operations plus adjusted income of the subsidiary. Okay, and again, how much is the income of the parent from its own operations? We have 240,000. And no adjustments to the income of the parent in this problem because we do not have any downstream transaction. So start with 240, proceed to the adjusted income of the subsidiary. What's the first thing we need to solve for the adjusted income of the subsidiary? Solve for the, get the income of the subsidiary. And how much is the income of the subsidiary? 90. And what are the two possible adjustments for intercompany sale of inventories, class? Markup on beginning and markup on ending. Okay, in 2015, we did not have any beginning inventory. In this year, we will now have beginning inventory, which is the ending last year in the amount of, the inventory first. The beginning inventory here would be 70,000. Okay, but what we need is the markup on this 70. And again, as what we've already computed, the markup on the 70 is 14,000. This being realized already, this being earned this year in the eyes of the consolidated entity, but not included anymore by the reporting entity, this must be a positive adjustment. So we will be adding this time the markup on your beginning. So you add the 14 with the 90. Next, what's the second possible adjustment for intercompany sale of inventories? Again, the markup on ending. Do we have the information as to the ending inventory? Yes, 105,000. But again, it is not really the 105,000 we need. It is the markup on the 105,000. Okay? Since we've already converted the percentage, the gross profit rate into the gross profit rate based on the selling price into 20%, we will be using 20%. Multiply 20% with 105, that will give you 21,000. So that is the markup on ending. And per usual, the 21,000 will, the markup on ending of 21,000 will be deducted. So the income of the subsidiary was 90, and then you add the 14, you deduct the 21. The adjusted income here would be, the adjusted income lang class, 83,000. Okay, you add the adjusted income of 83,000 with the income of the parent from its own operations in the amount of 240. 240 plus 83 will give you 323,000. Class, just for the sake of discussion, how could we have gotten 21,000 if we use the 25%? Divide 105,000 by 125 to get the cost, and then multiply it again by 25%. Okay. But again, what we need is not the consolidated income. We need the income attributable to the parent. Okay. So, the income attributable to the parent is solved by starting with the consolidated income and deducting the share of the NCI in the adjusted income of the subsidiary. How much again was the adjusted income of the subsidiary? Was it 83,000? And the NCI is 40%. So the share of the NCI then in the adjusted income of the subsidiary is 40% of 83,000, which is how much? 33,200. Remove that from the 323. 323 minus 33,200 will give you an income attributable to the parent in the amount of 289,800. Proceed to the next year. The same procedure, class. Start with the income of the parent from its own operations, which is 300,000. Solve for the adjusted income of the subsidiary, beginning with the income reported by the subsidiary in the amount of 160. Then deduct the adjustments arising from intercompany sale of inventories, which would be the markup on beginning and markup on ending. The markup on beginning is the markup on ending last year, which we have already computed to be 21,000. So you deduct the you add the 21,000 from with the 160. Then just compute for the markup on ending. The ending inventory is 120,000. The markup rate is 20% based on the selling price. You multiply 120,000 by 20%, that will give you 24,000. And the markup on ending would be a negative adjustment. So the adjusted income of the subsidiary will be computed as 160 plus 21 minus 24 will give you 157,000. You add 157,000 with the income reported by the subsidiary of 300, 457,000. Okay, and then deduct the share of the NCI in the adjusted income of the subsidiary. Okay, so how much was it, class? 157. 157 times 40% will give you how much? So 62,800 deducted from 457,000 will give you how much? 394,200. So you can actually, this can actually be converted into 6 questions. And again, it's not even that difficult. Let's have 16-13 to 16-5. Okay, in the shotgun problem class, the first question is, what is the amount to be reported as sales in the 2017 consolidated statement of comprehensive income? And again, I will repeat, class, this is the question that you cannot be forgiven if you will get it wrong. There's nothing complicated here. No percentages which you are afraid of. Just plus and minus, class. And what are you supposed to add? Add the sales of the parent with the sales of the subsidiary and deduct intercompany sales, class. No multiplication, no division, class. If this question comes out in any exam, you should not get it wrong, class. How much was the sales of the parent? 400,000. How much was the sales of the subsidiary? 200,000. We will just have to go over the problem to determine how much was the intercompany sale during the year. Polo company purchased 60%. Star reported the excess is allocated. Okay, we have an excess in this problem, class. Take note. During 2017, Polo purchased inventory for 20,000 and sold the full amount to Star Company for 30,000. Okay. For some reason, class, some students would think that this is a upstream transaction. Because what's the first part of the sentence, class? Polo purchase, and that's it. They will not continue reading. Polo purchase, and they would think this must be upstream. The source must be the subsidiary, class, but that is incorrect. The phrase there, Polo purchase, has nothing to do with intercompany transaction, class. It's just, I don't know, is it really going to confuse you, class? Okay, so please read the entire sentence, class. Polo purchased inventory for 20,000 and sold the full amount to Star Company. So the intercompany transaction here is from the parent to the subsidiary. So this is downstream. So whose income will be adjusted here? Parent. Okay, but that is not relevant in the first question. So as of this point, what we need is the amount of intercompany transaction. On December 31, 2017, Star's ending inventory included 6,000 of items purchased from Polo. Also in 2017, Star purchased, okay, we have a lot of intercompany transaction there. Also in 2017, Star purchased inventory for 50,000 and sold the units to Polo for 80. So this is still, but this time it would be upstream. So whose income will be adjusted for this transaction, class? Subsidiary. Okay, so perhaps this would be the most interesting problem we have encountered so far. Okay. Polo included 20,000 of its purchases from Star in its ending inventory. Okay. So all in all, how much was the intercompany transaction? 30,000 downstream and then 80,000 downstream, a total of 110. So class, in solving for consolidated sales, you don't even have to determine whether it's upstream or downstream, so long as it is a sale between the parent and the subsidiary. So again, there's really no reason for you not to get consolidated sales. Okay, so again, the combined sales of the parent and subsidiary was 600, and the total intercompany sales was 110. So 600 minus 110, that will already be your consolidated sales, or the amount of sales that will appear in the consolidated statement of comprehensive income. So the answer there is simply alpha. Next, letter number 14. What's the question? Consolidated cost of goods sold. Okay, so the formula, class, you just have to remember the formula, class. Consolidated cost of goods sold is the cost of goods sold of the parent plus the cost of goods sold of the subsidiary minus your intercompany sale, and then adjust for the markup on beginning and markup on ending. But this time, class, the adjustment would be opposite. Remember, the relationship of your net income and your cost of goods sold being a form of an expense is opposite, class. If markup on beginning would increase profit, the reason it increases profit, class, it's because it would decrease your cost of goods sold. The reason that the markup on ending, class, would be deducted from your net income is because the markup on ending would be an addition to your cost of goods sold. Okay, so please take note, class. But are we given with the cost of goods sold of the parent? Yes, in the amount of 250. And then how much is the cost of goods sold of the subsidiary? 120. The cost of goods sold of the parent includes the sale to the subsidiary. The cost of goods sold of the subsidiary includes the sale to the parent. Okay? And again, we've explained the logic behind, class. We've explained what was happening behind the scenes. What is important is you remember what to do, and that is just add cost of goods sold of the parent plus cost of goods sold of the subsidiary minus intercompany sale plus markup on ending minus markup on beginning. Okay. So what do we deduct after adding 250 and 120, class? The intercompany sale. How much was the intercompany sale again, class? 110,000. So 250 plus 120 minus 110, that would be 260.
Okay.
Okay, next. Adjustments for the markup on the beginning and ending. Do we have beginning here? On December 31, stars ending inventory. No. Also in 2017, star purchase. Polo included 20,000 of his purchase from star in its ending inventory. Okay, so I cannot see any ending, class. Okay, sorry, I cannot see any beginning. Let's go to ending. How much was the markup on the ending, class? For goods still in the hands of the subsidiary. Included 6,000 of items. So 6,000. We solved for the markup on the 6,000, class. What do we need? We already have the ending inventory. What we need is just the gross profit rate. Okay, how much was the intercompany sale from parent to subsidiary? 30,000. How much was the cost? This is the 20. So just use the fraction. Fraction-wise, the markup rate is 1/3. So how much is 1/3 of 6,000? 2,000. Okay? This is a markup on ending, so this would be added. Next. Yeah. Next would be how much of the ending inventory of the parent came from the subsidiary? 20,000. Okay, what we need is the markup on the 20,000. How much is the gross profit rate? The selling price was 80 and the cost was 50. Okay, so this is equivalent to 37.5%. Okay, so you multiply 37. Okay, for the sake of discussion, how did we get 37.5%? The total markup of 30,000, which is the difference between 88,000 and 50,000, divided by the total selling price of the intercompany sale from subsidiary to parent in the amount of 80. So 30,000 divided by 80 will give you 37.5%. So 37.5% multiplied by 50. How much was the ending, class? 20. 37.5 times 20,000 will give you how much? 7,500. Is that correct? 37, 25. 7,500. This is markup on ending, class. Again, opposite treatment for income, class. Very important. Please don't get confused. So we were at 260. We added the, how much did we add from the downstream, class? 2,000. And then add the markup on ending in the hands of the parent in the amount of 7,500. So 260 plus 2,000 plus 7,500 will give you 269,500. Okay, that's all you have to do, class. The things you have to remember are the same. Okay, so the answer here would be Charlie. Questions? Confusion, class, because our solution is different from the one given from the solutions manual. Does everyone get what we're doing, class? Okay. So we'll proceed to the next problem. I think you're not settled, class. You want us to discuss how the solutions manual solved it, class? But I discussed this last time already. Remember the I think it was in 13 in the first or the second problem. I think it was the second, and we were late to realize that the transaction was downstream. Class, can we just proceed without me discussing how the solutions manual solved it, class? Okay. Next question is, what amount of the consolidated income will be assigned to the parent company in the consolidated income? So basically, we are asked for the income attributable to the parent. Okay. So what's the first thing we need? Income of the parent from its own operations. And then we have there 105. Is that the income of the parent from its own operations? No, because that includes dividend income of 25,000. What do? Remove the 25. So the income of the parent from its own operations is 80,000. Okay? But the income of the parent in this problem will have an adjustment. Why? Because we have downstream transaction. What would be the source of the adjustment, class? Just the markup on ending. Which one? Not the one in the hands of the parent, but the one in the hands of the subsidiary, because that is the inventory that came from the parent. Okay? So where is it? That's the one in the hands of the subsidiary that originally came from the parent. Yeah, so 6,000. And we already know that the markup on this amount is 2,000. So that would be the adjustment to the income of the parent from its own operations. So 85 minus 2 would be 7. Oh, how much? 25 di ang dividend income. So, income of 80 minus 2,000, the adjusted income of the parent is 78,000. Next, we already have the adjusted income of the parent from its own operations. We will proceed to the subsidiary. How much is the income of the subsidiary? 45,000. Okay, but again, aside from the adjustments from the intercompany transaction, we will have an adjustment due to the amortization of the excess, which is given in the problem. What did the problem say? The excess is allocated to equipment with an expected life of 10 years. Actually, the excess is not given, so we will have to determine the excess. Polo Company purchased 60% of Star Company's voting stocks for 252,000. Okay, so how much is the excess here? 252 divided by 60. How much? 420,000. This would be the value of the company as a whole. But how much is the book value of the assets, class? 400. But since the problem told us that all excess is attributable to the equipment, that means the fair value must also be 200. How much was it? 252 divided by 60, it's 420. Class, if it says that an excess is allocated to an asset, that means there is no resulting goodwill. So if there's a difference, that means the resulting goodwill should be 0. So the value of the company as a whole and the fair value must be, and the difference between the value of the company as a whole and the fair value of the net assets must be 0. Okay, and to reconcile that one, the difference then between the fair value and the book value of the net assets would be the excess class, which will be allocated to an asset. So in this case, if the value of the company as a whole is 420, and we know that there is no excess because there is no goodwill, that means the fair value of the net assets must be 420 as well. But we know that the book value is 400, so there's a difference between the fair value and the book value in the amount of 20. But again, this does not go to the goodwill. This goes to an equipment in the amount of 20,000. And again, it will be spread out over the useful life of the related asset. So you just have to divide 20,000 by 10,000. And again, we have already discussed the logic behind this one. There will be a difference in the depreciation expense that will be reported by the subsidiary and the one that will be recognized by the consolidated entity. And the difference there will be equivalent to the amortization of the excess, which is your 2,000. And in this case, since the fair value is greater, that means the depreciation expense in the eyes of the consolidated entity will be greater. And in that case, in the eyes of the consolidated entity, the depreciation expense reported by the subsidiary is understated. Consequently, in the eyes of the consolidated entity still, the net income of the subsidiary is overstated. So that is why the adjustment here is minus 2,000. But if you do not want to analyze that class, you can just remember almost always the amortization of the excess would be a deduction. But I don't want you to do that class. Okay? There are instances wherein the book value will be greater than the fair value, and in that case, the amortization is wrong to call it an excess, but the amortization between the difference between the amortization of the difference between the fair value and the book value would be an addition class. Okay? But in this case, it would be deducted. And in almost all the problems you will encounter, it will be a deduction. So deduct 2,000. Deduct it from the 45. Deduct it from the 45,000. Okay, next. What are the possible adjustments for intercompany sale of inventories? Markup on beginning and markup on ending. Again, we do not have markup on beginning here. What we have lang is markup on ending. But again, what ending are we referring to? The one that is in the hands of the parent, because those are the goods that represent the transaction that came from the subsidiary. So in this case, it was the 20,000. Just get the markup on the 20,000. How much is the markup on the 20,000 class? 7,500. So 45,000 minus 2,000. Markup on ending is minus. So that would be minus 7,500. That would be how much, class? 35,500. Add that with the adjusted income of the parent in the amount of 78. How much will we get? 113,500. Okay, but that is not the answer because what we are looking for is the income attributable to the parent. So we lack one more step, which is to deduct the share of the NCI in the adjusted income of the subsidiary. Again, how much was the adjusted income of the subsidiary? 35,500. Multiplied by 40%. Where did we get the 40%? The NCI, because the controlling interest is 60%. So how much is the share of the NCI class? 14,200. Deduct that from 113,500. That will give you 99,300. Now, what is crucial here, class? Always the adjusted income of the subsidiary. If you got the adjusted income of the subsidiary, your consolidated income would be wrong, then the share of the NCI would also be wrong. Now, why am I re-emphasizing that now? Okay, it would have been possible, class, nga you would have swapped the 6,000 and the 20,000. If your adjustments from the 6,000 and the 20,000 ending inventory were swapped, class, your answer would be wrong. Your income attributable to the parent would be wrong. Your NCI share would be wrong. But if you swap them, class, your consolidated income would still be correct. Okay? You both will have the same treatment. But if your If you swap the two, your adjusted income of the subsidiary would be wrong. Therefore, your share of the NCI would be wrong. Then your income attributable to the parent would also be wrong. Now, just as another way of getting your 113,500 class, go back to your consolidated sales. How much was your consolidated sales? 490. Ignore your dividend income. How much was your consolidated cost of goods sold? Was it 269,500? So deduct 400. How much was it, class? 490 minus 269,500. How much will that give you? 200,2,500. That would be your consolidated gross profit. And then deduct your consolidated other expenses. Add 70 and 35. 70 and 35 is 105. How much was the consolidated gross profit, class? 220,500. 220,500 minus 105,000. 100. Sorry, we missed one thing. We will also adjust the other expenses, class. Okay, as we explained earlier, the expenses reported by the subsidiary is understated in the eyes of the consolidated entity. Remember the amortization of the excess? That would be an adjustment to the other expenses of the subsidiary. So the other expenses of the subsidiary will be 37,000. Please take note, class. If this would be asked, how much is the consolidated other expenses? It will not be 70 plus 35. It would be 70 plus 37. How much will that give you? The 70 and 35. 37. 107. Deduct 107 from 220,500. That should also give you 113,500. Okay, very important, class. The amortization of the excess would be an adjustment to the expenses of the subsidiary, class. Okay, but that way of solving for consolidated income is not popular, class. Kay, you cannot rely on that one to solve for income attributable to the parent because it does not give you the adjusted income of the subsidiary. We'll end here.